Hello, I'm Dawn. This is Yarn is a Sport. Today is day 6 of Vlogmas 2022, and I'd like you to play ball. Today I wanted to do a presentation with some ideas about something that you could do to teach knitting and crocheting to the younger children and have an activity for them during the holiday visits and school break. My daughter is talented with art. I tried to teach her to crochet and knit when she was 5, 6. She asked, and she's just the type person, if she cannot do something well, she has no interest. And I let it go, and I tried again when she was about 10 or 11. She asked again, and she always had access. We had a basement with crafting, which I'm very fortunate. That's one thing with living in the Midwest, is you do have basements usually, which is a little extra space. She had asked me some questions in high school, and it just happened that with the hours I was working at that time, I answered them, but I wasn't really around a lot. And I was working a lot Monday through Friday, and she came to me one weekend and said, well, I finished this. And the first thing that this child knit was a sweater in tarja, no pattern. And that is something that I will cover later, as far as how to do that. The sweater, the fit wasn't my surprise as much as the intarsia. When we get the things that are in storage, I will show that to you. But my point with it pretty much is not to push if they show an interest. It could be that they have one person that they do it around more. For my daughter, she enjoyed doing it with my mom. And other than knitting that sweater, that's what she did. She did the crocheting and things with my mom. When she was 10, 11, I told her the most important thing, in my opinion, is being able to control the needles, the hooks. Some people hold their hook like a pencil. I don't know if that's a weird angle, I know. And some people hold it like a knife. I hold mine like chopsticks. I know, but that is my crochet hook hold. I had her do what I call a French spool. I don't know if that's what it's called now, but you can get a little cylinder that has the spikes on the top that point out, and you put the yarn around the outside, and you take the hook and you pull it over and you put the yarn around, much like loom knitting is. And that's another really good way to get a child, because it's the bigger yarns, it's going to go quicker for them. And pretty much, there's a couple different ways to do it. Pretty much once they get started, they can do that. So with the spool, I had my daughter do an I-cord. And what I started with was a, tangled up here just a moment. I had her start with some acrylic yarn. Now, in my opinion, the acrylic is what I always use for this project. As far as it was a throw rug. Now, the reason is, if you do cotton, it is going to absorb water, and when you put it in the washer, if you don't have enough to wait out the washer, you can actually damage your washer when it spins. And it doesn't matter if it's front load or otherwise. So with the acrylic, because it doesn't retain the water in the fibers the way cotton does or wool does, to me it's better. This is not what we use. I have like a thick towel mat that we use personally for our floor mats when we shower or bathe. But to have a throw rug in the bathroom or a throw rug at the kitchen, I use the acrylic, and because of the cleaning is the reason. I wash them every 2 to 4 weeks, depending upon where they are and what we've been doing and things. So the way it's done is you do either an I-cord with the little spool, and an older child, if you want to teach them, what's nice with, I don't have a DPN, you could do it with 2 DPNs, and if you teach them to knit 3 stitches or 4 stitches on the DPN, and then you just slide it, and so you keep sliding it around. They don't turn the work, they just slide it. They just need to understand that normally they would have to turn their work, but I think it's really good because they're just knitting the stitch at that point, and it helps them. It's just 3 stitches, and it helps them because they're just switching them from one to the other. Again, it's just a matter of the right one, then you would slide it to the end and switch them. The other way you can do it is if you're into crochet and you have a child, if they're 4 or 5 years old, they can do a chain, and that will make the yarn a little heavier. A foundation chain is more like an I-cord, and for that I would say probably a child that's 8 or 10 years old. And that is what I did yesterday and today. Is I had Caron Jumbo. This one I got from Yarn Inspirations. It was 595 yards, and it is a number 4, so it's a worsted weight. And I have done the larger needles, and I have them on a cord, and I like it on the cord because if you have if you knit it flat, you have the weight, and I do think that the weight distribution with the cords is a lot easier, and it's something smaller to handle, but there is some weight to it. They just have to support it in their lap. This is 16 inches by 18 inches, I believe. Maybe 19, 20 inches. And this is 1 skein. So I'm half done with this rug. I did it in the linen stitch, which is going to be really hard to tell with this particular fabric. That's a little easier to see. That would, for us, this is what we prefer to have on the bottom, and then the little triangle shapes are what we have on the top. The smooth we have on the top is the way we use it, but it is reversible. And this is the size that I got. Let's do it. A Yarn Geek Ginger. It's the size of my head, but I do have a little head. I wear children's glasses, so. But this is what I got. And I did a foundation chain for this one, the crochet chain. If you start one, and if you have more than one child, if you have the younger one that's doing the chain, you can have a child a little older that you can show them how to do the stitches. Now the stitch that I use for this one is the linen stitch. The reason I use the linen stitch is it is a self-blocking stitch. Now if you use this to do a sweater, that doesn't mean you don't have to block it. What it means is a self-blocking stitch does not roll. So depending upon the cast on that you use, and I do the crochet chain when I do these so that I have the same at the top and the bottom for the rug for the finish. But that's my suggestion, is get them interested in the yarn, have them do what they're able to do. And it could be you're going to have somebody that's 6 years old, and it doesn't have to be just the girls. The boys can do this. It could be they're 6, 8 years old and they understand beyond this. I was blessed in that I did. But this is a nice way to get it started. It's a nice way if you have more than one child. And it's also a nice thing to have to the side, so that if you're working on a project and they ask you how do you do it, you can put your project away and have something for them to start. Another nice thing to start them on is the granny squares. Even if it's you start the centers, and so that you've got your foundation first row, and have them go out from that, especially if you do it so that you chain two, so you don't have just a circle, but you have the 4 points. It's a great way for them to start, and granny squares are so popular right now. They're going to want to make something for themselves. They'll want to do something for gifts. But that's my suggestion today as far as encouraging younger children. I've had some great comments down in the description. I'm hoping that I've answered all of them. I've tried to be timely with them. If you have any questions, please do ask. If you have any suggestions, please do leave them below. I want to thank you so much for spending time with me. My husband just is walking. That's what that earthquake was. Again, I want to thank you for stopping by and watching my Vlogmas. I want to thank everyone that is putting the word out. I have had some people, I think, suggest that they look at day 4. It was fun. I hope that you guys enjoy it and I don't damage your eardrums with that. I would like to see some more of those. I'm hoping that some other people do that. And if you do, let me know. I'd love to see it. Enjoy your crafting. Thank you for stopping by. And play ball.